Hello Junior 4, how are you? I'm Mrs. Sherry Munir. Today we'll start a new unit which is decimal numbers. Let's revise together fractions. لو فاكرين معايا fractions كنا بنعمل ايه؟ If I have one rectangle and separated into 10 equal parts كنا بنعمل ايه لو فاكرين؟ Denominator of this rectangle it will be 10. برافو عليك. Its denominator will be 10. Okay? The number of whole parts. And if I shade one part, it will be 1 over 10. If I shade two parts, it will be 2 over 10 or 2 tenths. Right? وهكذا 4 over 10 it's 4 tenths. And 8 over 10 it's 8 tenths. If I shade 10 over 10, it's the whole one, right? Okay. طب فين بقى decimal? This fraction, any of these, which is with denominator 10 or the multiples of 10, يعني 6 over 10, 7 over 100, 9 over 1000. If the denominator is 10 or the multiples of 10, then I can convert it into decimal number. طب يعني ايه decimal number ده؟ تعالوا نتعرف عليه. Decimal number consists of decimal point, and the left part is whole part, and the right part is decimal part. Okay? يبقى decimal number, decimal point and whole part and decimal part. طب تعالوا نعرف هما دول ايه. If I have mixed number which is 3 and 2 over 10, can I convert it into decimal? Yes. Why? Because the denominator is 10. تمام. How? This is whole and this is fraction with denominator is 10, and I can convert it as a decimal. Then I'll put the decimal point and the whole part and the decimal part. الديسيمال بارت ده أنا بقدر أحدده منين؟ من الدينومينيتور. If I have 10, then I have 1 0, then I have one place in decimal part. After that, I'll start from right and put 2 in numerator, أحطه as a decimal part, and the whole is 3. يبقى تاني أنا عملت الستبس بتاعتي ازاي؟ put decimal point and look at the denominator which is 10 and 1 0. Then I put one place in decimal part and put in it 2 which is the numerator. Okay, but I'll start from right. أنا بكتب الديسيمال من اليمين للشمال. Start from right. 2 and 3 as a whole. تعالوا نشوف example تاني. 6 over 10 or 6 tenths. I can convert it in decimal number because the denominator is 10. Okay, decimal point and put the whole place value يعني. And how many decimal places here is 1 decimal. Why? Because the denominator is 10 and has 1 0. تمام. وبعدين start from right, put 6 in decimal part and there's no whole, it will be 0. It's 6 tenths, or I can read it as 0.6. تمام. Okay, if I have a model and I shade 4 parts here from 10 parts, then our denominator here is 10, bravo, and we'll shade 4 parts then it will be 4 over 10. عادي جدا fraction العادية. Okay. Can I convert it into decimal? Yes, of course. Then I put decimal point and the whole place. How many places here in decimal part? It will be, yes, one place because it's 1 0 in the denominator. خلصنا كده الدينومينيتور استخدمناه. فاضل ايه؟ النيوميريتور. From right to left. خلوا بالكم. From right to left. I'll put 4 and there is no whole numbers. Then it will be 0. Okay. Let's start. How many fractions here? Yes. Whole 1 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 over 10. Then 1 and 6 over 10. Decimal point. 1 whole and 1 place value in decimal part. Then I'll put from right to left 6 and the whole is 1. Then it's 1.6 or 1 and 6 tenths. تمام? Okay. If I have a sheet of 100 squares, then our denominator here it will be, مين معايا صاحي؟ Yes, it will be 100. برافو عليكم. But our denominator here it will be 100. Let's start. If I have a sheet from 100 squares and I shade 5 columns of 10 squares each and 2 squares, then I shade 5 columns. خلوا بالكم. Each column has 10 squares. Yes. Then each column equals 1/10. It's 10. 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10. It's 50. 5 of 10. فاكرين لما قلت لكم 5 of 10 equals 5 times 10. تمام. يبقى 52. 52. And our denominator here is 100. Then it's 52 over 100. Decimal point. Here the whole is 1 place. And the decimal part here, how many places? برافو عليك. هنروح للدينومينيتور أشوفه. How many zeros? 2 zeros. Then it's 2 places. And put from right to left. 52, it's 2 and 5. 0 as a whole. تمام? Okay. 1 whole and how many rows here? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Each row has 10 squares. Then it's 30 and 5. 35. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then it's 1 whole and 35 over 100. Right? Okay. Decimal point. 1 as a whole. How many places? Yes, 2. 1, 2. Then put 5 and 3 and 1 as a whole number. Okay. تمام. يلا بينا. تعالوا لخبطكم بقى شوية. Here I have a sheet from 100 squares. Okay. Then our denominator here is 100. Right? Okay. Numerator is برافو عليكم. أخدتوا بالكم؟ هما هنا squares يعني units مش tens. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's 7 shaded squares. 7 over 100. This is fraction. Decimal is, يلا بينا, decimal point and the whole it will be 0. How many places here in decimal part is, نروح للdenominator, 2 places, right? Okay. Then put 7 and start from right to left. Put 7 فين آخر place عندي from right. I'll put 7 here. Okay. Then I have no digits again. Then I'll put 0 as a holding place and 0 in whole place. يبقى ايه 7 tenths. 7 tenths. تمام كده يا جماعة؟ اوكي. طيب انا دلوقتي عندي shaded model and I want to write decimal without fraction. انا عايزة انط على الديسيمال على طول. يلا بينا نفكر مع بعض. هنا الشيت بتاعي ايه؟ 100. Then I have here 2 places in decimal part, right? عشان لما كان بيبقى عندي denominator 100 بحط 2 places 2 dashes in decimal part. اوكي. هكتب فيهم كام؟ يلا بينا. 1 2 3 4 rows of 10. Then it's 40. فأنا عندي decimal point, whole, and 2 places. I write 40 from right to left and 0 as a whole number. Okay. يلا بينا نشوف تاني. How many rows? 1 2 3 4 5 6 tenths. It's 64. 64. 2 decimal places and I'll put 64. برافو. From right to left and 0. طيب تمام. اهو هنا بقى الشيت بتاعي قد ايه؟ 10. يبقى الدينومينيتور بتاعي 10. يبقى الديسيمال place is 1 dash. 1 place. Okay. How many shaded? 1 2 3 4 5. Then I put 1 place in decimal part and write 5. There is no whole numbers, is 0. تمام لغاية كده يا جماعة؟ Okay. Shade the model to represent the decimal, then write the fraction. Decimal اللي عندي 0.6 or 6 tenths. I'll shade 6 parts from 10, right? Yes. 6 over 10. 6 over 10. ليه؟ أنا decimal part here, how many place values? Yes, it's 1. Then our denominator will be 10. Okay? And then put 6 as a numerator. سهلة جدا. أو ناخدها من الموديل. الدينومينيتور بتاعي 10. I'll shade 6. Okay. If I have a model with 100 squares and we want to shade 21 squares of it. طب أنا عرفت منين؟ Okay. 21. How many places here? It's 2 places. Then I'll have the denominator as 100, right? And numerator, it will be 21. Then I'll shade 21 squares. It's 2 rows of 10 and 2 squares, right? 2 rows of 10 and 2 squares. Then it will be 21 over 100. تمام? Okay. Express the following models by decimal and fraction. Here I have a model and I want to represent it as a fraction and decimal. Okay. First, it's whole 1. And the second is also whole 1. And 3 over 10. Then the fraction will be 2 as a whole and 3 over 10. Right? Okay. As a decimal, it's 2 whole and 3 tenths. صح? How many places here? Is 1 because the model has 10 equal parts. طيب هنا الموديل بتاعي 100. يبقى الفراكشن بتاعي denominator بتاعه 100. Then it's 1 and 22. Why? Because 2 column of 10 and 2 squares. 22. Then 1 as a whole and 22 over 100. As a decimal, 1 and 22 hundredths. تمام؟ أشوفكم المرة الجاية الفيديو الجاي. ذاكروا كويس الجزء ده علشان هنعرف حاجات جديدة في الفيديو الجاي إن شاء الله. باي باي.